Okay, so now Dendera, one of my favorites, and Dendera is, of course, all the temples are active at different scales, of course. Dendera is one of the most active at this moment. The level of frequency of high frequency that you can achieve there by using the chambers is incredible. And it's one of the temples that actually it has the inscription of Stargate. We normally tune into that in many of the temples, there are stargates or, like all these portals. Yet in this temple, there is literally, like, officially acknowledged that it is a stargate. This is the temple where it was found by Napoleon, well, by his crew, the Dendera Zodiac that is now in Paris, in Louvre, in the Museum of Louvre, and yet, even though they tried to do a replica in the ceiling of that chapel, the frequencies still there pulsing, as it is way, way connected to the underground of that temple, where you can see, if you know where to go, there are very specific places in the temple that you can see the underground structure. And I will show them to you. You can see the pillars of an oldest construction there. And there is the Cleopatra's bathtub. And it's like this huge pool that has 4 doors, 2 connected to the Nile and other 2 connected to another, to other shafts that actually then they connect, whether you can connect to other realms that are connected to Rennes des Châteaux, actually, in France, and other to the mountain that is in front of Dendera and then connected to Abydos. So, yeah, then there is why? Because the whole temple of Dendera is quantum machinery. Actually, there are a lot of famous and scholars that are researching that temple, precisely that temple, because they are looking for artifacts, for quantum artifacts, and because they believe they are there. So then there is a specific way of walking the temple that you can connect with that artifact. And we will be doing that. One of the biggest connections of Hathor, or the message of Hathor, are the arts. Like, as a priestesshood, they would connect all these capabilities, these artistic capabilities of sounding and frequency to open up portals to the stars. And we will be doing here very beautiful activities, even as rewriting the story, your story, and the story of humanity, because one of the most interesting features about this temple is that the cartouches, or the, let's say, the labelings, where all the hieroglyphs are written for important things, they are in blank. They have no story. They have no relation to anything. They're just in blank. Imagine that you drew, like, normally, like, for instance, the Mayans, they would draw the the hieroglyphs inside cubes. In Egypt, they would write them inside ovals, sort of ovals with the omega. And these, in parts of the temple, they are in blank, because it's showing that when you enter Dendera, you're entering into a higher scale of the quantum field. And from out of all the infinite possibilities simultaneously coexisting, as you tune into a specific constellations in a specific way, you're capable to open the gateways that will derive for you to create the reality. So yeah, quite excited to share this with you there. Sean?
Okay. Voice all good? Okay.
Yes.
This is also favorite places. My God. The reason why is because when I got there, I was shaking. I was vibrating. I was collapsing on my knees. Uh, it it was a lot. The energy was amazing. I much remembering remembering past life bleed over reverberate than any other place when I went to Egypt last. I remembered past lives. I remember being there. I remember one life I was helping build structures, and one I was like part of the ceremonies when I was a woman involved in like the Hathor school. There was so much. I love it. I love that place. I can't wait to go back. It felt like I was seeing multiple versions of the play aired on each other. One was back when it was more greener and lush and like, gardeny instead of desert like as well. Uh and yeah, it's also a temple. It's got a part for Isis. 50 plus gods are associated with it. They have a system. So this definitely adds the superhuman love part. This is one of our deaths that will amplify that. There's a dwarf of fun with talking about. We call him the Telekinetic Dwarf, and he and or his species involved in the creation of various temples and pyramids around the planet. Would you like to talk about the story with the pyramid in Mexico of the Telekinetic Dwarf that it appears to be
Sure.
connected, at least in expansion, as a god around the world, and interacts with the whole concept and the origin of where Star Wars got their Yoda concept. So like Yoda as a teacher, overpowered telekinesis. So they have telekinesis, so that's a good place. Telekinesis from the connection to that being there. With I believe I have a book called God Green. Oh, let me for a second. 1 second. Okay. Blur. Okay. So nope, that doesn't help. Okay, there we go.
No.
This is the Telekinetic Dwarf, and it's like the lost history of the little people is this book. So that as the little guy that we're gonna go see is one of the gods there. Be fun. Yeah, can you talk about him a little bit? And then I'll go
sure.
back
Sure.
into it.
His name is Bess, and he's officially related to the fertility because his depictions, in his depictions, he's shown with a really big phallus. So then they automatically connected to fertility. And mostly being in the Hathor temple with all the wisdom of the priestess also commonly connected immediately to the sacred sexuality, then they find it very, very easy to connect him to fertility. Actually, he's also in one of the temples that we will be going in the Karnak temple. In the Mut temple, he is there also. The one that I told you about, the 365 statues of the lioness. Okay, well, he's also present there. But anyway, he's a dwarf that now if you go deep, like to the core of his knowledge, of his wisdom, he's an expert in magic, in alchemy, in creating and manifesting. Therefore, it's also its connection to fertility, because he's quite capable of manifesting and creating immediately, like abracadabra, 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 which is as I speak, I manifest, I create. So he can also be quite related to that. He has even a specific chapel for him. Well, not for him, but he's very present in Dendera. He's present in every chapel. Sean was talking about the Isis there. There is also actually in the Mamisis, which is the place where they would use to bring in the child of Isis, the children of Isis, which are the newborns, with the ones that were given birth to through the gen Isis, through the parthenogenesis, which I will be sharing with you in the trip. That's where the Stargate inscription is. And the presence of Bes is all over that cubic structure. And everywhere where there is this connection, where there is the connection of, for instance, let's say genetics, you will see Bes, like with all that magic. And also with the constellations. In his depictions, you will see him carrying animals, which are not the animals themselves. They are the representation of the specific constellations. So what he's pointing out to is that through very specific intersection of the consciousness of specific stars, you can manifest. And this is also related to the precession of the equinoxes. So, and he's present in the pyramid that Sean has behind, which is the Uxmal pyramid, known as the dwarf pyramid, because you can see he's a little guy. I mean, little in size, not in power. He's very powerful. So maybe that's why they're also representing him with a big phallus, big power. Yeah, but that would be too literal, too linear. Yeah.
Yeah, and the pyramid we visited behind me, the sorcerer's pyramid or the magician's pyramid, and it has 3 layers from previous generations, and there's another pyramid behind it too. A lot. It's beautiful. It feels beautiful there. It's amazing. The story is that a dwarf went to a location and uncovered in the ground some magical that he then started playing, and there was a prophecy as soon as he started playing something like that he would be the next ruler of the area. And the ruler time didn't like that, so he made a bunch of tests and tried to get him to do might kill him. And so he kind of like did something where under his hair he put like helmet, and he said, "I'll do it if you do it too." And then he like smashed a hard fruit on his head with being fine as the test, and so he got through it in the previous rule. So he become the rightful ruler, and stories say that he built the pyramid that's behind me over a very short span of time, maybe even a nights. I forget exactly the exact story. So that to be impossible, and by a dwarf himself. So that's why he's known as the sorcerer. So that goes into telekinesis. So like the same being, is it a similar species? What's going on there? What's telekinetic dwarfs and what Yodas and stuff? So that's that. And then yeah, with it's also one of my favorite places. Expanded divine love, divine healing, remembering, amplification, a lot of heart stuff, like overpowered amounts of heart stuff, knowing, uh, over 1 million different divinity body upgrades. It can grant you record upgrades, memory, a connection with what I call the source, with also like God for most people, but like at the center of the Big Bang that becomes everyone and isn't whatever you want to call that. Goodness, absolute, which is the military calls that people reach into meditation that's beyond space and time, access that. Earth body, which then you can communicate with it or more as an oracle. Having more influence and awareness of this dream that we're in for this realm. Blood purification, which is a lot because it can amplify a lot of their like generators and their own magnetic field. Each blood cell. Precognition, unity, intuition, empathy, amplification, lucidity in this dream, as well as lucid dreaming. Past life recovery for sure. Harsh then. Your auric expansion. So for your auric field, amplifies to ascension, and you can connect to the source of all beautifully. And yeah,